Hello and welcome to English 111. I'm Amy Schaumberg and I will be your instructor for this course. During this quarter, we'll be covering a range of primarily Western literature in three genres: fiction, poetry, and drama. Some of it will likely be familiar to you. Other texts may be very difficult and foreign, and that is fine. Our goal is to explore these texts together. So if you find yourself struggling with one of them, please feel free to reach out with any questions, comments, or just thoughts that you have. Each week, I will post a brief video, like this one, introducing the readings for that week, along with some supplemental videos and articles that will help you understand the text that we'll be delving into. This term, you will have a required textbook, the Norton Introduction to Literature. This class will focus on critical reading, so it is absolutely necessary that you have carefully read all of the assigned text in order to succeed in the class. You'll find your weekly reading assignments posted on the Canvas homepage and listed in the syllabus. In addition to these weekly reading assignments, you'll be expected to complete a discussion board post based on those readings and a journal entry each week. The readings and the discussion board posts need to be finished by the end of the week. The journal entries will be graded all together at the end of the course. You can either submit them one by one throughout the course if you just want to do them and have them done with, or you can collect them and turn them in all at the same time at the deadline. These entries should have at least one full page and should demonstrate critical thinking about the text. They can be analytical, what does the text mean? They can be reflective, what does the text mean to me? Or they can even be creative. If you want to write a short story in response to a short story, that's fantastic. They do not need to be formal in tone or formatting. This is just a space for you to share your thoughts or ideas on what we are reading. For our first week, we'll be examining 3 American short stories. Each of these stories is from a literary movement known as Romanticism. When reading literature, scholars divide the text into groups known as literary movements, based on the time period and the characteristics of the writing. These periods are marked by shared characteristics in the art and literature that was produced during that time, and they reflect the time period and society in which they are written. In America during the early 19th century, Romanticism was the major literary movement. It was marked by emotion, imagination, and a focus on an individual sentiment. It tended to idealize the world, or in the case of Gothic Romanticism, which centered on the supernatural, lost damsels, doomed love, and a grand and gloomy setting, it offered a fantastical version of that world. This movement was in many ways a reaction against the previous period, the Age of Enlightenment, which was marked by a focus on rationality and logical discussions of the world. Think the Founding Fathers. The first of our stories is The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe. While probably best known for his poetry, Poe was also a critic and a short story writer who helped shape the genres of horror and science fiction. He is also considered the father of the modern detective story. Poe's own life was marked by tragedy at an early age. He was born in 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts, the son of actors Elizabeth and David Poe. After the death of his parents when he was 3, gambling debts led to an estrangement from his foster family, and he was kicked out of the West Point Military Academy. After that, Poe moved to Baltimore to live with his aunt and cousin, Virginia Clem, who would later become his wife at the age of 13. He was 27. In 1845, he published The Raven and other poems, which became wildly successful. However, 2 years later, Virginia died. At this time, accounts began to spread of Poe's erratic behavior. There are conflicting accounts surrounding the last days of Edgar Allan Poe and the cause of his death. Some say he died from alcoholism. Some claim he was murdered, and various diseases, including rabies, have also been suggested. Most agree that he was found unconscious in the street and admitted to the Washington College Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. He died soon after on the 7th of October in 1849 and was buried in an unmarked grave in the Old Westminster Burying Ground of Baltimore. His poems and his stories, including The Cask of Amontillado, he focused on exploring the darker side of literature and the darkest side of the human psyche. In this, he exemplifies the idea of Gothic Romanticism. Whereas general Romanticism was marked by emotion, imagination, and again that idea of the individual's sort of sentiment as the all-important thing, Gothic Romanticism centered on the supernatural. We see things like this in Frankenstein or Jekyll and Hyde. Our next author, Nathaniel Hawthorne, is also an example of this literary movement. Hawthorne was born in 1804 in Salem, Massachusetts. This location had a significant effect on his work, as did the witch trials of 1692, for which Salem is famous. This is especially true as his great-grandfather was a judge in those witchcraft trials. Probably best known for The Scarlet Letter, which was set in colonial Massachusetts, much of his work struggles with the conflict of science and belief, often exploring the darkest ramifications of mankind's flaws and obsessions. Our final story is also by a writer primarily known for his novels, Herman Melville. Best known for Moby Dick, Melville actually wrote a variety of texts, though he saw little fame during his lifetime. Moby Dick bombed completely. While still firmly relying on the symbolic intensity of Romanticism, Melville also seems to be looking ahead in our story, Bartleby the Scrivener. This text explores the Gothic nature of modern society, rather than turning to the dark recesses of the past. As you read these texts, consider what they might be expressing about the time and place in which they are created. Is there something universal in the themes or stories? Is there something that we can relate to in the here and now? Or are these stories a relic of their time? Before you get into this week's readings, be sure to review your syllabus very carefully and to familiarize yourself with Canvas. All of your assignments are going to be posted there, so you need to make sure everything's working right now. Your reading journal is up and posted, and there's also a short video from John Green to watch in your modules that will give you some insight on how to approach literature. As you work, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Good luck, and welcome to the class.